those who have gone and gotten influenced by persons who have interest in the LGBTQ should return whatever influence they have collected, because we will fight. And the next time we address the media, I will mention names. I've been impressed upon today by my co-sponsors not to mention names, and it's out of respect for them that I'm not mentioning names. But if they continue this behavior of frustrating the bill, how can this bill spend almost 3 years? This bill was introduced in 2021. The Christian community, the Muslim community, the African traditional religious worshippers, the National House of Chiefs who have supported this bill must take note of the actions of persons on the floor of the House who are seeking to filibuster and slow down the move of this bill. But this bill is a moving train, and for those who think that they can stand in this way, we will crush you.
Ghana's anti-LGBTQ+ bill is undergoing parliamentary review. Its objectives include criminalizing same-sex intercourse or public displays of affection, prohibiting the advocacy of LGBTQ+ rights, and banning trans healthcare. The bill proposes to criminalize and imprison people simply for identifying as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, queer, questioning, an ally, asexual or pansexual. The bill, which has been under debate since August 2021, claims to protect Ghanaian family values. The bill has the backing of most Ghanaian MPs, as well as religious and traditional leaders.
Catch our own culture. Me, sit here because of that. I've done what? I've acquired degrees in the European universities, like those here we've established. I should throw away our culture we've inherited from time immemorial because of what? Dollars over there. I permit a man to kiss a man, and a man to kiss a man, and a woman to kiss a man. Please, I don't need to talk about it over here. We are waiting for you, our younger ones. You start to popularity. When you check that topic in your moot of court, for heaven's sake, don't say that Uganda must be ostracized just because they were bold to have passed a bill into law. Ghana, we have ours in parliament. And lo betides those parliamentarians, if they can about it, and emulate what is happening in America, they'll come and meet us in our respective kingdoms.
Mr. Speaker, my submission would stand, my submission would anchor on 4 legs: traditional, scientific, legal, and religious. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is a culturally rich nation. We have 70 ethnic groups and 80 languages. We have 240 traditional areas that are recognized by the National House of Chiefs. Mr. Speaker, we throw an open challenge to proponents outside of this House, since there's no proponents in this House, of LGBTQ rights, to show us one Ghanaian traditional language or one Ghanaian traditional area that accepts and supports homosexuality. Language is an identifier of an ethnic group. And when you take all the 70 Ghanaian languages, over 70 Ghanaian languages, each one of them has words for things that are to the people. Things that are alien, they don't have words for them, they have descriptions for them. So when people say that the white man brought us Christianity, for example, it's incorrect, because when you take our local languages, we have names for the supreme being and names for lesser deities. In Akan, we have Odumankuma Nyankupon, who is the supreme being, who the Hebrews call Yahweh. Or in Ghana, we have Atana Anyumo. So God is not a new construct to our language. But when you take things like computer, which are new things to our language, we call it Abefo Efidie Enchi. It's a description. When you take telephone, we call it Ahuma Trufu or something, a description. And when you take homosexuals, we call them Kojo Besia, Kojo Aoya Ninyama Tise Besia. It is a description, simply because it is alien to our language. And so when it comes to tradition and our culture, these are alien to our culture. Mr. Speaker, in the West, their culture seems to prohibit polygamy and supports this. People think it's a cultural thing. It's actually not a cultural thing for the West. It's a financial decision. And let's put it to the Western world, that because of the tax system. That is why they frown on polygamy, not because of culture. Because when you are a single man in the West, you pay a higher tax. Once you get married to your spouse, your household tax reduces your individual tax liability. So then imagine if they allowed one man to have 4 wives. He will pay less tax to their exchequer. It is about money for the West. That is why they have criminalized polygamy. It's not about culture. And so they should not follow money and ask us to accept something that is culturally reprehensible. Mr. Speaker, let me go to the legal part. Our constitution has been dealt with, but when you read the report, those who argue against this bill say that Ghana is a signatory to international rights, the conventions and treaties. Very true. But Mr. Speaker, what they fail to do is that some of us don't read, but some of us do read. And Mr. Speaker, all the conventions that they have quoted in their memos to the committee, we would establish the fallacy of their positions. Mr. Speaker, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights in Article 17 says this: every individual should have the right to education. 17.2, every individual may freely take part in the cultural life of his community. But 17.3 says, the promotion and protection of morals and traditional values recognized by the community shall be the duty of the state. This is the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So it says the promotion of morals, traditional values. So what morals are we talking about? What traditional values are we talking about? This is the convention Ghana has signed up to. And so this bill is in line with that convention. In fact, Article 18 of the same African Charter says the family shall be the natural unit and basis of society. It shall be protected by the state, which shall take care of its fiscal health and morals. The state shall have the duty to assist the family, which is the custodian of morals and traditional values recognized by the community. So, if we say the family, what is the family? Is it a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a woman with their children? We have our traditional values. Mr. Speaker, they always make reference to the UN Declaration on Human Rights. The UN Declaration on Human Rights in Article 2, I read, it says, everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind. And these are the distinctions it makes: race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth or other status. Mr. Speaker, I want to make it clear in this hallowed chamber that there is a clear distinction between sex and gender. Complete distinction. Sex is a biological construct. Gender is a social construct. Sex is binary, male or female. It is the source code for even computer science, 0 and 1. To be a male, you have the XY chromosome. To be a female, you have the XX chromosome. There is no other combination known to science. However, gender is a social construct. That is why in some countries, as we speak today, they have 48 gender identities. In some, they have 100. So gender is a social construct. In this country, our social construct of gender is male and female, as our constitution demands and recognizes. So, Mr. Speaker, even the UN Declaration on Human Rights does not make gender the basis for discrimination or enjoyment of rights. It says sex. And once it is sex, it is male and female. So if you change your sex as assigned at birth, cosmetically or surgically, you are flouting the Constitution. And I want to use this opportunity with the support of my colleague members of Parliament, since we all support this bill, to serve notice to the Western powers that we have taken judicial notice of what they have done to the Speaker of Uganda. After Uganda passed the bill, the sanctions on the Speaker of Uganda's Parliament and on the sponsors of those bills, we will serve notice as well that if they replicate same with our Speaker and members of Parliament, we will also take action against their business interests in our country. Because they serve in this country and make money from here and take back home. They cannot hold us to ransom. And like has been asked on this floor, Mr. Speaker, why is it that the American Secretary of State has not sanctioned the Secretary of Defense? Because June was declared Pride Month and they had transgender parades. The U.S. Secretary of Defense blocked and stopped a transgender parade on a U.S. Air Force base because he said the U.S. Pentagon, which is their defense headquarters, would not support such activity. Governor DeSantis has passed legislation against open transgender parades in Florida. Why have they not taken on their own citizens? In fact, in 2022 alone, there were 433 actions in state house of legislatures across the United States banning and clamping down on homosexuality. The Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, just last week, passed a landmark judgment enforcing the rights of American citizens to refuse to offer services to people on the basis of their faith and because they were LGBTQ. Mr. Speaker, it shows you that even America has realized the error of their judgment and are walking back their steps. The dangers of homosexuality are great. Persons who are homosexuals or transgenders, per statistics from the CDC, have at least 6 times higher rates of obesity, substance abuse, and suicidal thoughts than heterosexual people. This has a consequence for our health bill as a country and public health, and we cannot turn a blind eye to this. I want to thank every member of this House who has supported this journey so far, especially the committee as well, in bringing us this far. Mr. Speaker, this bill will be passed to the glory of God.
If the anti-LGBTQ law currently being discussed in Ghana's parliament is ratified, LGBTQ+ group members could potentially face imprisonment for up to 15 years.
The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, as part of its contribution to the LGBT debate which ensued as a result of the consideration of the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill, submitted a memorandum to Parliament and strongly recommended to the House to embark on extensive engagement with all stakeholders, including the LGBT community, to arrive at outcomes that secures the dignity of everyone. Shrag believes that it is when we listen to one another as Africans that we can agree to uphold the fundamental rights of our brothers and sisters who may not necessarily look like the majority of the population.
It is a signal that the limitless and unfettered rights bestowed on citizens in parts of Europe and America have no place in Ghana.